What is happening, people? Welcome back to Road to Vegas Session 1, about to get underway. It was never concrete in the plans to play today at Aspers. We were on a date in central London and decided to park our car at the casino. And I thought, upon return to the car, it would have been rude not to play a couple hands for what turned into a 6-hour session. We pick up ace queen off on the button. Straddle is on. Recreational player next to act has limped. I raise it to 20 and we go heads up with the recreational player. Flop comes king 9 to diamonds. He checks it over to us. It's a board that I think we want to bet our range. We have backdoor potential with the ace of diamonds, so very happy to bet this hand, and I do so for 25. He makes the call. I think when he makes the call here, he's going to be quite wide. Go on to the turn, which is another 9. He checks it over, and I think we now have showdown value. Any lower pocket pair would be counterfeit now, and I don't think he has 10s, jacks, or queens. I check back. The 4 of spades on the river. He checks it again, and for the same reasons as on the turn, we have showdown value. I really don't see the need to bet here. He could be slow playing a 9, a king, so I check it back, thinking I actually should be good here, and he turns over king queen off. Nice hand.
What?
Next hand, 5-handed here. We pick up ace jack off on the button. The straddle is on. Next to act is our pal Rich, who calls the straddle, and on the button I raise it to 25. Only Rich ends up calling, and we go heads up to the flop, which comes 10, 5, 3, 2 diamonds. It is a nice flop because we do have the ace of diamonds and 2 overcards, also the range advantage. So when Rich checks, I bet 25 and he makes the call. I think he will be calling quite wide. 7 of hearts on the turn is not a good card for our range. He checks it over to us. I do think we need to respect that he catches up now, so I do check back. At the same time, we could still have showdown value with ace high. River is the queen of hearts. It is better for our range. He checks it over. Do I bet here? I'm not too sure. We could still have showdown value. I just check it back, and glad I do when he shows pocket 7s for a turned set. Nice hand, Rich.
What?
Following not the best start to this session, we add on 165 quid as we pick up pocket 9s first to act. I raise to 7 and we get 1, 2, 3 callers in the field. We go out of position 4 ways and flop a set, but on one of the worst and wettest boards imaginable. I check out of position and it checks over to the hijack, who is one of the wrecks on the table, sitting very deep. Stabs for 10 into 30, and Button, who is the other wreck on the table, raises to 25. We definitely can't go anywhere. We likely have the best hand, but there are a ton of cards we need to fade on the turn and river, so I just make the call, hoping to boat up. Hijack gets out of there, and we go heads up with the button to the worst card in the deck. It is the 10 of diamonds, picked out by the downswing demon, it seems. I just check, and Button checks back, and the river could not get any worse. It is the queen of hearts, so we actually end up having an incredibly mediocre hand here, despite flopping a set. I just check, and he checks back, shows king jack off. Surprising that he raised on the flop, but we move.
What the fuck is going on?
Alright, next up, we pick up ace jack off on the big blind. There is the straddle on low jack, who is the wreck sitting very deep, raises to 11, and again, the other wreck, he calls, and so we go 3 ways with the wrecks to 7, 4, 9. We completely whiff. We have ace high out of position. I decide to check, and both wrecks check back, which to me means that no one here has 9x or even a middling pocket pair, so we could be good here. And the turn is another 9. So although we could be good, I do decide to start a story. I bet 15 into 40, only the cutoff calls, who I think is going to be more capped out of the 2 players after checking back the flop. So I am definitely going to be firing again on the river, especially when the river comes the queen of clubs. I don't think he's going to have any queens in his range. He at least shouldn't, and any middling pocket pair is going to have an extremely tough time to call if I do decide to bet big, which is exactly what I do. I go for 75 into 69 and very happy with my play here. But he actually thinks about it. Doesn't take too long before making the call. Oh my god, what have we done? He shows queen jack off. Wow, this is the same player who raised king jack on the flop. Nice answer, but maybe I could have sized up on the flop. Other than that, I don't mind my play. Anyway, we move. Moving along, this session hasn't gone our way so far. We pick up king queen off now in the big blind with the straddle on, low jack calls, and the deep stacked wreck in the hijack makes the call. The small blind calls before the action is on us. I squeeze to 45 quid and only the deep stacked wreck makes the call. The second best outcome here. Heads up, our position, we go to the flop, which comes 9-2 jack rainbow. Pretty good for our hand. I check our position, and I think this type of recreational will tell us if he has a piece of this board, depending on what he does, as I think he will heavily underprotect his checking range, and he does, unfortunately, decide to check back. Although we only have king high, so maybe it is quite fortunate. But it is unfortunate when the turn is the 10 of hearts. We upgrade to coconuts. I get excited now without much thought. I bet half pot. I think this is a mistake, as when he checks back flop, like I said, he's going to underprotect his checking range. I don't think he's going to have much at all, so I'd rather just check to allow him to catch up. Or if the bet, just bet very small. He does unfortunately decide to fold. We move. Moving on, we pick up king queen off once again on the button. The straddle is on, there is a limp before us, and so I raise to 20 and we get 3 callers going to the flop in position. It comes pretty good. Queen 10-7, 2 spades, hit top pair and a good kicker. And now under the gun recreational decides to donk £10 into 80. Cut off folds, and I think he's just trying to see a cheap turn. We can't really allow him to do that. I think we have the best hand here when he does this. I think he's probably on a draw or something, so I raise to 35. Big blind calls, under the gun calls, and we go 3 ways to the turn, which needs to be a brick, and it is just that. 3 of diamonds checks to us. Now, what size do we want to go for? Well, I decide to go for just under half pot, which I don't mind. I think that's a good price to set for their draw type hands. So yeah, they end up folding though, and we take this one down. Let's go. Starting to recoup some of the money we lost early in the session today, as we pick up ace 2 of hearts in the cutoff. We're just four-handed here. I raise to 7 and both the blinds call. We go to a flop 2-4-8 rainbow checks to us. I think we can bet to deny equity from overcards, or we can just check and go to showdown as cheaply as possible in position. But I do decide to bet, and both end up calling. I think we need to slow down on pretty much all turns, especially on the 8 of clubs. Both check to me, and yeah, I think middle and pocket pairs are going to be very inelastic if I bet here, and also they have all 8x in their range. I think this is an easy check back, but this is where I'll probably make the biggest mistake of the session so far. I bet 30 into 42. There's just really no need to do this. With the type of hand I have showdown value, and the recreational calls, which is a massive red flag, and the pro gets out of the way. We go to the river, which is the 3 of spades. He checks. I just check back. He does. Sure enough, show queen 8 off. Yeah, just an absolute blunder there. Right, I've not been at my best whatsoever today. The straddle is on again, and we are on the button with queen jack of hearts. I raise to 15, and the big blind and straddler calls. We go in position 3 ways to a board we absolutely crush. Ace, king, 3, 2 diamonds. Checks to us. I think we can probably just range bet this board. I do decide to check though, and the turn is the 10 of spades. We got the nuts, boys. Big blind checks, under the gun checks, and now I probably should bet. I bet 15, and big blind raises to 50. We love to see it. I probably should 3-bet here, however, I decide to just call. I guess to keep his bluffs in on the river, but also so that I can just raise him on a clean river. However, the river is not clean. I call, and the river comes. The 5 of diamonds completes the flush, and now he leads for 75 into 150. I don't think we can fold here. We're only losing to a flush. I don't think we can raise though either, so I just make the call. He does. Sure enough, show ace 4 of diamonds. Don't like the way I played it. Yeah, 3-bet on the turn is probably the play here. We move, nice hand, and after that, play a few more hands, wrap this session up. A session that I'm not proud of. End up making a loss of £445. We move, we learn. We tried to go to Grosvenor Casino yesterday in Luton. The cash games were not running, so we played a £60 tournament, and we ran ace king into ace 5 all in pre-flop and lost. But good to get some tournament experience under the belt. We're back at the Aspers car park. Let's hope it is busy.
I might just
about 2.5 hours into the session, Button has raised to 10 off his £155 stack as we wake up with pocket kings in the big blind. I decide to raise to 4x. He makes the call and we go to the flop and fade the dreaded ace high flop. I decide to c-bet really small, 25 into 81, to try reel him in and get him pot committed. But life is made easy when he jams. We snap him off and we are good. Let's go. About 20 minutes later, we look down at another premium, pocket jacks. There are an infinite number of limps before the action is on us, on the button. So I raise gladly to 30 quid to try to isolate. And now, +1 who limped, 3 bets to 85. And I just don't have a good feeling about it. Usually this is just aces. I have no info on the young lad, but I decide to make a pretty quick exploit nitty fold, and he is kind enough to show that we made a terrible fold. When he shows he had pocket fives, nice hand, 100.
Yeah.
Poker is just a great game. We're getting better, and the better we get, the more enjoyable it becomes. Hopefully some of you guys can relate as you become better yourself. And I hope, man, that you're learning from this, or at least you're finding some value from this journey. But without further ado, let's get into the hands. I'm gonna have to explain why there's no hands and why I'm already out. This is not usually a good sign. It's because the cash games were extremely dead today. We did manage to run it up £60, so I stopped playing. I went to get some food, came back up, and a mate of mine told me about a tournament I was playing that was running in the background. And funnily enough, it was £60 entry for that tournament. It was a satellite tournament. The field was around 30 odd, and we ended up both deciding to play this tournament. Only first and second place win the tournament. They win tickets for a tournament in Malta. The whole package is worth $2 grand, and you won't believe it, me and my mate both ended up winning this tournament. So unbelievable result. 2 other mates beat the same tournament the other day. So yeah, essentially predicament is, do we go out with the lads and play this tournament, vlog the experience, hope to win huge, or do I just do what I think is the sensible thing and get as much refund out of that package as possible and just put it towards the Road to Vegas Bankroll Challenge? I don't know, guys. I might have to put up a poll to let you guys decide, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to turn around my content fast enough for you to see this video in time for when the tournament starts. Either way, I think I'm just gonna have to make this decision myself in the next week. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to let you know about this unbelievable result. I cannot believe it. So I appreciate all of you. Sorry about there being no cash game hands for this session. Like I said, the cash games were dead tonight, so we're gonna have to come back next week because it is a Sunday tonight. Gonna have to work during the weekdays. So yeah, I will see you next week. Peace, guys.